All right, thanks for downloading the template. I'm going to run through the layers and how you can put this together to create your own. We'll start at the top here. I usually start with the name. So up at the top, we have first, last. I've also used this space to put a position, or you can put any other text here. So I'm going to grab the text, copy, paste it in there. The font I'm using for this is called Teko, Teko. So if you want this similar look with the font, feel free to download that. It's a free download online. All right, so we got the name in there. Next, we'll do the last name. And this is a smart object. So what we're going to do is when I update the last name here, it's also going to update it, this text back here that's kind of faded. So that's why I have it as a smart object. So if you're going to double click on here, it brings this up. And so I have this gold texture clipped to the last name. So I usually paste in that full name since I have it, and then I just delete out the first name. So if your name runs past the edges, go ahead and shrink it down, because remember, it's using this smart object that's confined by this to put up that vertical text behind it. I'm going to change, because I'm kind of digging the all lowercase here, to that. If you have a team that you don't want to use gold, I put on underneath the gold texture. If you click on hue, double click on hue saturation, you can turn the saturation down, and you can make it like a silver and change the lightness, down to almost a black if you want, or almost to a white if you want. Or if you don't like the texture at all, just turn off that layer, and then you have your text as you normally would, and you can change the color. But for this, I'm going to leave the gold. So hit Command S or go to File, Save, and that will update the smart object. So it'll take a second. And once I close out of here, you'll see that the last name has gone up the back here as well. So next thing we'll do is I have this placeholder for a logo. So double click on that. I'm going to bring in the logo over here. And you can also put a number here too. That'd be a good spot for it if people like their number on there. So position that. I'll just turn off this logo. Command S, save, and this is also a smart object, so it'll update because I have some effects on this that kind of knock out the whites of your logo. And so that is in there. All right, next thing we're going to do is this back image layer. And there is, this is also a smart object. So when you open it up, I have this silhouette in here for you kind of as reference. Also, if you hit Command semicolon, I have some markers in here to line up where I want my head and the size of it to be. Obviously, as you get your layout how you want, you can update that. So I'm going to drag in the image. And this does show just about waist high, you'll see. So you don't need a full image, but a lot of them that I have are cut out for a full image. So I'm going to line that up. I'm going to knock out the silhouette. I'm going to hit Command S or File, Save to update this smart object. We'll get out of that, and you'll see it updates back here. I also have a camera roll filter on this, so it's going to stylize it some, mostly clarity and texture. So if you turn it, it's on right now. If you turn it off, you can kind of see it. If it doesn't work with your image, just go ahead and update that filter to what works with your images from that shoot, and then you won't have to do it every time. So that's why I have it like that. Next, I will put in this final front image. So I'm going to grab it, bring it in. I just drag this one in, and I'll show you here once I get it lined up. I typically like to line it up so it goes a little bit over the name there. Accept that, and then I have a smart filter that works for my images, that it's my good base point. And so if you drag this onto this image, or if you want to copy it, you hold Option and then drag it on that smart object, it'll update, and it'll get that out of there. And then we are going to add a shadow. So under this grain, there's a shadow. The ground right here, there's a folder. So this is grass, but I also have a couple in here for blank if you want like just a white. And I have one that's a wood floor, and it's pretty out of focus, but you can kind of see the grain in it. So if you're doing a basketball, or if you're doing a sport where you don't want any floor, you can just use this blank. But this is football. We're going to keep the grass, so I'm going to turn that back on. Close it out. Then we got the shadow. And there you have the shadow. I made the mistake of I had the shadow layer under the ground layer that I had in there. So make sure that it's on top or else you won't see it. So the shadow's in. And so I'm good with this because I already had this. I wanted the gold because this is the team's colors. But I'm going to show you some things you can tweak and that you don't have to do once per team to get it lined up how you want. So starting at the top, we have these texture items in the corners. They're gold. So obviously if you don't want them gold, you can go up here and you can click on hue saturation and turn that on. And then if you double click on hue saturation and it's colorized is checked, you can move this and change it to whatever color you want that fits in with your team. So I'm gonna hit cancel because I want mine to stay gold, but that's what you do on each one. And turn that off so I can go back to the gold. And obviously if you don't want them, you can just turn them off. Next thing going down the list is we have two of these like light leaks on the side that kind of just put a gold glare over the whole image. So again, I have it locked because I accidentally grab it sometimes. So unlock that. If you need to change a color, double click on hue saturation. And if you go to colorize, you can change this to any color you want. And then obviously you can here go to the opacity too and turn it up or down to get you the look you want. So I'm gonna leave mine how it is because it's the way it comes is kind of like a gold texture. So I'll turn that off. And then there's a background one that's right behind here, right behind that back image. It kind of just makes the whole image get a little glow behind. If you don't like it, turn it off. If you want to change the hue, same way. And then same thing, there's another light leak here and it's in the back and it's a little bit more subtle and it's on this back image that goes behind this one right here. So same thing, hue saturation, double click on it if you need to change it. And so those things you'd have to do up front with the team, but once you have that dialed in, you're basically just swapping out the images and changing the name. So hopefully you can get your posters made quickly and a high quality product for them. I appreciate you watching and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.